So let's start with Russia, Ukraine. We'll get to Epstein in a moment and other things. The president last night talked on arrival at Andrews, and of course was asked about what he's proposing. It's pretty clear that part of this involves selling defensive weapons to the Europeans, who will then give them to Ukraine, eliminating at least one MAGA objection that this is more of U.S. tax dollars. In fact, the U.S. will make money off of this, in theory. And there's also reporting that it's not just going to be defensive weaponry, but offensive weaponry, the kind that the Biden administration was reluctant to share with Ukraine for fear of causing World War III. Here's the president last night at Andrews talking about Vladimir Putin. 103, please.
He talks nice and then he bombs everybody in the evening. So there's a little bit of a problem there, and I don't like it.
Sean, what do you know about what to expect today in terms of this announcement?
Well, first, I'm actually surprised. And I say this because when the president throws out a date as a one-off, and I believe that date was in a phone call with Christian Welker, to me, it's like it's a placeholder. Like, within 2 weeks, I will announce this. And when he said on Monday, I actually will be surprised today if they follow through, only because it wasn't like some big thought through press conference or statement. It was just a one-off. And so whenever those dates get thrown out, I'm always skeptical that they're hard, right? So it sounds like, based on the tarmac conversation last night and the idea that Root is in town today, that there'll actually be something. I wouldn't be surprised if he does talk about how this is going to be a transfer through NATO today and how they're supplying additional weapons. I leaned last week more on the sanction side. Maybe that's still true, but I have a feeling that he wants to ratchet up the weapons side, and he'll make that announcement today with the Secretary General.
Dan.
Yeah, and the other thing is that they're rumored to be getting ready to ask Congress for more money, which is also very interesting, because that's going to put it right back, into the square of U.S. tax dollars going to defend them. And supposedly Russia is amassing troops in northeast Ukraine, or on the border with it. They've been doing it now for a few months. So are the Russians getting ready to move, and are we going to provide more weaponry?
I will say, initially, the way he described it last night with his transfer to either NATO or to the EU, he sort of alluded to the fact it would go to the Europeans, but I think that means NATO. And then paying for it, I think, is going to be a lot more palatable to folks where we're not picking up the tab.
Well, the opposite, right? We're gonna get money in.
Get money.
Why isn't the administration aggressively announcing support for the sanctions bills? Because they're still negotiating changes? My sense is,
I think two things. One is he wants the power. I don't know where it stands. I think he wants to have the authority to do it, and I think at least the last draft had Congress mandating. So my understanding is he definitely wants the authority to do it. And then secondly, I think this goes back to just Trump 101, how he does business. Like, I think he's still trying to figure out, hey, look, it's all coming down the pike, Vladimir.
Yeah. And I don't want to minimize something that we sometimes minimize here, which is, or we do less than others. But if the president's really getting NATO, Europe to pay for this, as opposed to just the United Uncle Sam writing every check, it's an incredible development for U.S. relations with the world. And of course, it's NATO's backyard, and NATO really wants to help Ukraine. So sure, let German middle class.
Well, and also it's disproportionate spend what we have paid and what they have. So yeah, having them step up. I mean, all of what you said plus.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. But I also think the reality is we will end up spending more U.S. tax. I mean, I agree with you, Mark.
Sure, but let's end up
spending tens of billions, if not hundreds of billions more.
Yeah, but let's split it.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
Want more great clips like that? I've got an idea. Hit the subscribe button, be part of the Two-Way community, never miss a clip, and you can always watch our full episodes, join them live, go to twoway.tv.